Windows wide, the curtains fly to catch the evening breeze. Without you here to keep me warm, believe I'd rather freeze. Believe I'd rather freeze. And how long can we walk that line between the sea and sand? How long can we bide our time for dreams we never planned? For dreams we never planned. When the sky said the winter time.
There we go. All right.
And you cry to see a shadow, babe, it's growing long across the lawn. Another song.
Good morning and welcome back to Tightlining, Maryland. I am out on the Gunpowder River, and this is, again, pretty much a home stream for me. Although at one point I did say, you know, it's not home to large fish, so I don't fish a lot. It is a great fishery for the winter. This is a tailwater, so what that means is that there's a release from the bottom of a dam, and this stream in the dead of winter will produce water temps in the 40s. You know, a lot of this winter so far, it's been in the mid 40s, which is great for winter fishing. Right now, I think it's about 40, 41 in the morning, and then it gets up to maybe 43, 44. So this is a great fishery if you are in Maryland trying to get, you know, a line wet in some of the tougher months of the year. Whether it's the dead of summer, it keeps it relatively cool, you know, in the upper 50s, low 60s, and then in the dead of winter, it keeps it in the 40s. So for that reason, this is an awesome place to be on the water, and if you've never been, you should definitely check it out. But for today, we're going to be using our newer rig again. I want to give it probably a couple more goes before I start explaining what it is, how I'm using it, but a newer leader, and then fishing primarily one fly, depending upon the depth of the water. So let's try to get some brown trout in the net, and we'll stay on here for just a small section of water, and then we'll head over to a trib that's not far from where I'm at, and hopefully be able to get some brown trout out of there. So sit back, enjoy, and thank you as always for tuning back in. There we go. Picked one up and ended up right in the tree. That would have sucked to lose your first fish of the day, which for all intents and purposes feels like a really nice fish. All right, let's get this guy in. All right, good start to the day. Nice healthy big old brownie. That fly is already out. Man, that didn't take but a second. That hare's ear popped out of his mouth quick. It's already through the net. So that pressure means everything as you're fighting a fish. I mean, barbless hooks, they can come out in a quick second, but if you fight them right and keep that pressure on them, the sea in the rod, as we talk about in maybe some previous videos where, you know, low pressure, side pressure at that, then sometimes it results in, you know, gorgeous brown like this. I mean, look at that guy. He is beautiful. Always privileged to land a beautiful brown like that. All right, so we got one fish. Nice subtle take that we were able to pick up on this, again, a little bit lighter leader situation than what we're used to using, so that's good. Hopefully we can pick up a couple more before we get done with this little bead of water. I'm only going to fish maybe from the bridge up to where the water gets flat, so that's only, you know, a couple hundred yards, maybe 200 yards ish. So we're gonna keep it short and sweet on the Gunpowder, but you know, if we can get one or two fish, that would be, I think, a moderate success given the small bead of water, fishing in the winter. There we go. Number 2. Sitting over there in the slower water. Good stuff. Good start to the day. All right. Tiny little guy, but hey, you know, we'll take whatever we can get, especially when we're just trying to, you know, learn a new technique and get familiar with it. Let's get this hare's ear popped out. The other guy did all the work for me. He had that out before we even got him to hand. There we go. All right, let's take off the glove real quick. Keep him in the water. All right. Hands are wet. We're gonna stick him right back in the glove anyway, so there we go. Gorgeous little guy. All right, so we got 2. And again, just fishing a small bead of water. One of the things that I was thinking about, all right, so we're up to 2 fish, and you know, hey, the fact that it's a work week on a Wednesday and I don't have to physically be at work, I get to fish the Gunpowder, even with the gunshots in the background. But, you know, this is such a privilege to be able to come out here and just, you know, fish and have fun. You know, how lucky am I that I get to do that? And hopefully if you're getting to watch the video, you know, it inspires you to get out on the water soon, or maybe to take a sick day or a personal day, not to necessarily keep you from your job, but, you know, get out on the water, get out and explore. And one of the things I was thinking about as I headed into, you know, 2021 that I wanted to be different compared to last year is, you know, number one, I wanted to grow as an angler. So hence the, you know, talking to different people, discussing different types of fishing, you know, seeing how maybe I can improve. There we go. 3. And as I'm talking, I'm catching fish. I mean, you just can't beat it. This is going to be a great day, even if he pops off. But the other thing was, for me, that I was thinking about headed into this year is that last year, it really seemed like, you know, I would really fish an area quick, and I wouldn't work a beat of water, and I wouldn't, you know, necessarily be real strategic on how to pick it apart. I would look for the juiciest run. You know, that fly's already out. Look for the juiciest run, kind of fish that out with my double nymph rig. Here he goes. Let's get him back. So 3 fish in short order here. You know, just picked one off here, and then all the way on the far side. But that's what I mean by, you know, picking apart water. I mean, I've always been somebody that tries to be diligent about reading the water and thinking about where to go, but I would typically only fish small bits of it, and I wouldn't really work all of the seams. So with that said, today the goal is, in this short section, you know, work this riffle behind this rock, hit all the inside, middle, and outside with that one fly in the shallower water. Get up here, I could see, you know, easily a couple of fish sitting in these riffles all the way up to that tree. And if we've got 3 fish just in this stretch alone, well, there's no reason we can't get 5 or 6 before we get off of here and head over to that trib. So, you know, I hope you're enjoying this. I sure as heck am. This is great to be out on the water catching this many fish in January. So let's get back to fishing. Alrighty, so just to quickly explain, too much drag, or so just to quickly explain the setup, we're using, again, a little bit different leader than the stereotypical mono rig. We're still using the same rod though, that's what's great. 10-foot 3-weight Syndicate P2 pipeline, great rod, highly suggest it. You know, but there's certainly others out there for you. And then we're using this Lamson Liquid 4-5 weight. And all we've got that we're really focused in on right now is just longer drifts, longer casts, and single nymphs in the shallower water. And we are using a hare's ear. It should be a size 16, I want to say. You know, I tied it. It's nothing special. It's just a quick little tie, gold ribbed hare's ear. And so far these, there was a fish. So far these little brownies have been keyed in on it, and you know, we're picking up fish. So we're hopeful to get into some more, hopefully, you know, 1 or 2 more before we get out of this section. Just waiting for that line to pause, twitch, do something. It's a little tougher to see here in the sun, but I feel pretty good about fishing this section out. We'll try on the top side of this riffle and all up through here. I mean, this is a great beat of water. And the reason why I say that is, you know, in the summertime, in spring, you're gonna see these riffles, specifically in the heavier water that's flowing a little faster. Right here in the center on that foam and bubble line, you're gonna see them stacked up. This time of year, which is, I think, as you noticed over here, I picked up 2 pretty quick, and the reason why is because it's just off of that faster water. They don't have to expend much energy. They can just quickly pop into the riffles to get a, you know, a drifting bug or, you know, some sort of nymph that's coming down by. So I think what we're gonna find up here is that we're gonna notice that pretty much on the right side, off of the bank in that slower water, that's where we're gonna find our fish, and I have high confidence we're gonna get one out of there. So let's march up there and see if we can't prove that theory right. One of the other things about the rig, in case you're interested in the nuances of just kind of differences, last year I typically fished, you know, 1.5 times the water depth. I think that most nymph anglers find themselves doing that. I think that's the common thread of what people consider to be nymphing in terms of like how much tippet should I use, 1.5 times the depth. That's the kind of the consensus. And when I talked with Josh Miller, one of the things that he said is that, you know, I use, there we go. He said I use 6 feet of tippet all the time, because then that takes out the variable basically as you fish. So far, you know, again, now we're 4 fish into this particular trip. And just as mentioned, you gotta fish it all. So we started off kind of fishing this inside seam. It was kicking out my nymphs a little quicker than I would have wanted. So we popped over just a little bit into that softer water where I thought that the fish might be holding, and sure enough, there he was. Nice little fish, probably coming in around 7 or 8 inches. I would actually say it's probably 8 or 9, but here we go.
Tuesday night, it's 3 a.m. I ought to be asleep. If only I could tell you all about the dreams I keep. Oh, about the dreams I keep.
Stung him but lost him. Well, the good news is we picked up a fish in terms of the hit, and that's important because that tells us a little bit about the fact that you got a good drift. Tells you that that fly is going to work, and that it's possible you could get another one. That little guy, he was probably every bit of 2 inches. That's crazy. He got me all strung up too. There we go. Picked him up. Brown. So this is a section that historically I've struggled with a little bit. So to get you know, 3 fish so quickly right in here is really something that I'm proud of. You know, again, granted I didn't land them all, but process versus outcome, I got them to take, and that in itself is a win. And I go back to, you know, I mentioned before we even started fishing this hole, I could use the crux of, oh, well, you know, the hare's ear, they were tuned into it. And that is true. They were definitely keyed into that. I was having a lot of success. But the other component is this fly is eerily similar and just has slightly different components. And sure enough, if presented correctly, is going to yield you some fish. There we go. Alrighty, that's going to wrap it up here for Tight Lining Maryland. It was a really successful day here on the Gunpowder. We got into 10 fish, netted 6 or 7 of those fish, with a nice fish coming in at about 11 inches or so. Again, testing out new techniques, pushing yourself, and just trying new things to always be, I guess, becoming a better angler. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're already somebody that is, you are appreciated. And if you're not, I hope you'll consider it, because it definitely motivates me and helps me to acknowledge, what are people interested in. They like what they see, and they appreciate the work put in. So soon enough, I'll put out a video kind of expressing my ideas about the leader I've been using. I've talked about it a couple times, but haven't exactly given away its relatively simple formula, but nevertheless, I will get that out to you. So tight lines the next time you hit the stream, and thank you for watching.